Just take a few deep breaths, and maybe that includes a little bit of movement at the same time. Finding your way into a standing position. Take inventory of how you're feeling in your body. Some little movements to check that out, and hips, ankles, wrists, shoulders, neck, spine. Finding just the right footing to support your body this morning, and then to ground into your feet, to feel as if you could actually press deep into the earth, moving down a foot or two beneath the surface, and a little bend in the knees to find some softness, and at the same time a steady support. We'll just take a loop or two loops with the shoulders, maybe a few here to bring some awareness up through the spine and open the arms and chest. And finding a place to settle with the heart right over top of the hips, right over top of the heels, and the head hovering above all of that. Taking inventory of the mind stuff. Just noticing what thoughts are at top of mind this morning. Noticing what emotions are feeling most prevalent this morning. Noticing if there's any pain or hurt. Really just being honest with whatever is present this morning and giving yourself the space to hold that emotion without judgment. We're very fortunate to be in these spaces of our home, protected and safe. To be in our cities and towns, relatively safe and calm. And at the same time, we're connected in this whole world, connected through streams of consciousness, connected through our breath, collective joys and traumas. Just giving ourselves a moment to take inventory and to really notice what we might be tapping into on a personal and global and universal scale. And finally, before we move into our wake-up routine, check in on a spiritual level. We've already sort of started to move into that with how we're connected with ourselves and others. And here we look for a connection with something greater than any one of us. A greater force, a greater power, something that supports us when we need it, something that's always there to tap into. And truthfully, whatever you perceive to be this greater power may change from day to day or different times in your life. And so just check in with whatever that is now. What is guiding you in this moment? We'll do a gentle wake-up routine here so you can find your collarbones. Maybe you do this with eyes closed or just softly batting the eyes open, and either massage or start to tap into K27, deepening your breath. I invite you to find an S breath to tap into the metal element. Move to the center of the sternum, tap, thumb. Softening the back of the neck. to the spleen points on the ribs. Shake off the hands, a little lighter tap on the cheekbones. Hands come down to the thighs. Take a moment to ground and notice how you feel after this bit of movement and breath. Just noticing the movement, the energy flowing. Begin to march in place, again deepening the breath. If it feels good to continue that S breath, you could do that throughout this wake up routine or any other sound or long exhale that feels good. Pause, give a big shake here through the arms and hips, and then cross it over, opposite hand to thigh. In the spirit of fall and letting go, how can you let go here in this movement? A little less control, a little less rigidity. And allow this natural warmth, your radiance inside of you to sort of melt and mold this rigidity of the body. Pause or slow that down. Hands come in front of the pubic bone. You might find a natural sway as that movement naturally continues through your body. And here we have an opportunity to deeply embed an energy, an intention into our bodies and minds as we practice the zip up. Take this pause and cultivate a special intention today. And once something pops into your mind, trust that. And we'll do this 3 times. Inhale, sweeping right up the middle. Flip the palms at the mouth, press up and exhale out. Middle finger to belly button and third eye. Lifting up, pressing in, deep, long breaths. Hands come back down to the thighs. Pause. Allow your breath to start to move into a yogic breath in and out through the nose. We'll continue moving into this metal season, exploring the gifts that metal has to offer. The archetype of metal is the alchemist. There's a magic that comes in this element where everything that has come before is melded, molded, transformed into the wisdom that we carry forward. At least that's the opportunity. And the invitation for you is to be present in this season, to be honest in feeling whatever pain or past traumas have shown up or are showing up. And again, to give yourself that space to hold whatever that is. stir it up within you and alchemize that to pull out the wisdom and the knowledge that you gain from that, so that we can move through this and spiral up, spiral into a new pattern, into a new cycle, one that doesn't keep us looping in the same pain. All right, let's start to pound the heels a bit here. And again, you might just naturally find your breath deepening. And then let that move up through your legs and feel your upper body start to wiggle and shake with that. And then bring in a little more shake, a purposeful shake through the hands. Maybe your feet unstick and start to stomp. Any sort of funky, fun, weird movements, like a dog shaking something off. Let it move through your whole being. The arms might come overhead or out. Let's take 2 more breaths here in this shake. And let that start to slow down. Find yourself coming back into center. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. Exhale, hands to heart. Connecting heaven and earth. Find a little bend in your knees. Lift one palm up, the other palm down. Exhale through center and switch. Again. Time each way. Both arms sweep overhead. Celtic weave, staying standing as you come down the front of the body. When the hands get by the hips, lift up with an inhale, twist to the right. And weave through this right side space. Inhale up and around to the other side and weave. And then moving into an intuitive weave where you could come into a forward fold if you'd like. You can move anywhere around the body, anywhere that might be feeling some pain or tension, maybe making some smaller little figure eights into those areas, or any areas that feel a little strained, even like the eyes, the head, the ears, the throat. Feeling into whatever is present in your aura. Energy medicine and traditional Chinese medicine teaches us that any dis-ease that we feel in our bodies started somewhere in the aura, right? This is the first place that it really shows up in our energy. Take the time to really tend to whatever is here, whether you're conscious of it or not. And then bring your hands back to center, bring your body back to center. And if you're not already at the front of the mat, go ahead and step forward. Inhale your arms up and overhead, and then bring your palms right down through center as you forward fold. Soften the knees. If blocks are helpful, bring them under the hand here. And allow the body to sway and to let go in this first fold. You might shake the head yes and no, or maybe hold on to the elbows. Spreading out the toes, balancing weight between heels and balls of the feet, inside outside edges. Plant your hands on the ground, step your right foot back and lower the knee. Right hand stays down for a twist. Inhale, your left arm comes up to the sky. Start to circle that left arm back down, forward, overhead, following the length of your body and mat. Switch directions. When the hand gets at the top, hold it up. Flick each finger off of the thumb and all the fingers off the thumb. Circle your wrist around, other direction. And then big golden figure eights. Weave through this left side space, framing the front foot. Tuck the back toe and step forward to the front of your mat to fold. Take a breath or two here. Step the left foot back, lower the knee. Same thing on this side. Right arm sweeps up and out to your twist, and begin to circle along the length of your body. Switch directions. The next time the arm comes overhead, hold it up in that deep twist. Flick each finger off the thumb. All the fingers. Circle your wrist. Other way. And weave the right hand down. This time stepping back into downward facing dog. Take a moment here to pedal out through the feet. Maybe coming high onto the toes a few times. Lower your knees down to the mat, tabletop. Cow and cat. Inhale, lower the belly, look forward. Exhale, round your spine. Keep going, breath and movements start to synchronize. Letting go of the right and wrong of this movement and just allowing your body to feel what it needs to feel through the spine. Maybe that includes a little side to side movement, or shifting a little forward, backwards. Complete whatever cycle you're on, take your time, and then we'll meet back in downward facing dog. Move really purposefully. Inhale and come forward to plank pose. Lower knees, chest, chin, 8-point salute. Then slide on through to your belly. Lifting up the head and shoulders, pointing the toes back, drawing the shoulders back. Cobra. Hold here for a moment as you breathe. Finding an even swoop through the back of the neck and spine. Lower down into triple warmer rock. Hands cross under the head, the heels splay, hips rock side to side. Pause the movement, surrendering. Check in with how you're doing at this point in your morning, in your practice. Maybe reminding yourself of your intention. allow that intention to be a guiding force as you move forward in your practice, in your day. Bring your hands back underneath of you for low cobra again. Re-engage the legs, the glutes. When you're ready, press on up, hold, maybe hover the hands. And then lower all the way down to the belly and reach your arms out in front of you. We'll find an alternating locust pose, lifting the left toes and the right arm. Lower down. Inhale, right toes, left arm. Lower down. Inhale, left leg, right arm. Lower. Inhale, switch. Keep going with your breath. You can continue at this pace, or if you'd like, you could hover everything off the mat. And almost like you're swimming here, you can move a little quicker and alternate. And then we'll find a full locust pose, pressing into the pubic bone, lifting the arms and legs, everything together, holding up. And then bring your hands back underneath of the head for a triple warmer rock and just let those hips rock a little side to side. And then coming into stillness again. Let go through the jaw, the back of the neck. Deep belly breathing. Bring your hands by your ribs, pressing up through tabletop. Tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Find about 3 breaths in this down dog, moving into a little more stillness. Still a sense of ease in the body, not getting into any sort of rigidity as we hold poses. The stillness should continue to embody that flow of energy. Which really is propelled through a flowing breath. Come forward into plank pose, and we're going to hold here for about 5 to 10 breaths. So if it's better to lower the knees, feel free to do that to find the most integrity and wholeness that you can. Whole body is here now. Whole body is involved. One of the reasons I love actually coming into plank is because there's no other option but for the whole body and the mind to be here now. So bring as much awareness as you can into this moment, into the way your body responds as it gets more challenging. We're coming into a side plank. Remember, you have the option to lower your bottom knee. Let's turn to the right. We'll hold for about 3 breaths, pressing through the bottom arm. Feeling the strength that comes from the metal element. Let's come through plank and switch sides. Come back around through the middle, lower your knees to the mat. Just a couple cycles of cow and cat to bring some softness back into the spine. And from your tabletop, you might find this next hold in a couple different ways. The first way might just be dropping right down onto the elbows and palming the forehead, eyes, and cheeks from here so it looks more like a modified table or modified puppy pose. What might feel better to you today is to sit the hips back to the heels in a modified child's pose. Either way, we're covering the forehead, eyes, and cheeks, allowing the head to be held, and letting the deepest parts of us know that it's okay to let go, that we're safe here in this moment. Take a couple more breaths here from the place of safety. It gives our bodies more capacity to heal. And start to rub the forehead as you release here. Scrub the forehead, maybe a little rub on the temples, and even scrub behind your ears. And then we'll release that hold and come back into downward facing dog. Walk your hands and feet together on the mat in the center and fold. Let the head go. Let the whole spine release like a waterfall. Then slowly roll it up. You can roll your hands as well as the spine coming up, feeding in to the chakras as you rise with the arms until they eventually come all the way overhead. Heaven rushing in. And exhale to bring the hands right in front of the heart. Little change here with the hands, Emi Mudra, thumbs, all the fingers come together, thumbs at the heart, index fingers in the base of the throat. From the sturdiness of the legs, an openness across the chest. Pausing here. Simply allowing the connections to be made. Balancing the yang and the yin, the control that we like to think we have more so than we do sometimes. And simply here allowing this process to take place, allowing the connections to be made, allowing the energy to flow, and just noticing. Let your hands come down by your sides. Lift up into your heart a little more, right into that area that we were just focused on, that high heart. Start to breathe and expand into the upper lungs, broadening across the chest. The palms might open naturally here as you find this expansion. And then we'll bring the hands around the back and place them on the hips and low back for some added support in this standing back bend. If it feels okay, you can drop the head back, but if that strains in any way, don't drop it back as far. Continue to explore the lifting and opening, staying strong and grounded through the legs. Then come back through center, and we'll move into our peak metal pose, human touching the divine. So we'll bring back in the S breath through a series of back bends. Inhale in a low back bend, heart lifts, arms open. Exhale, hugging forward with your S sound. Inhale at the height of the heart. Yes, hugging forwards. Overhead, a surrendering kind of pose. Inhale. Exhale, arms come overhead. Keep your sound going as you slide down the backs of the arms and land on the upper outer lungs. Take a couple more S breaths here. Release your arms down and coming up as you inhale, Celtic weave into a forward fold. Bend your knees at the bottom, come to squat, and moving into our water element to help us move around this cycle, to encourage that pattern of letting go and then beginning something new. So here we find our Hu breath. Inhale, looking down. Exhale out and forward. Calling upon the courage to take us forward. One more time. Release your hands and seat all the way down to the mat. Have your feet in front of you planted to set up for a slow sit-up. We're going to wrap our arms around the waist, and then the other arm comes around the outside of the elbow for a slow sit-up. We're going to roll it down one segment at a time, eventually coming all the way down to the mat and then reversing that to bring it back up. There might be a point that you reach where it's a little challenging to go. Try not to use momentum, but to instead pause at that tricky area. Pause in that and either roll right back down from there and just keep working that spot, or you could do it from the top down. So starting high, go down to that point that feels a little tricky or sticky, pause there and then just come back up. So either way, from bottom up or top down. It's helping relink all these segments of the spine and the muscles that connect to them. You might also try it with your legs straight. Ooh. And then roll down all the way. Switch the position of the arms. Just pause here on your back for a moment. Heel toe your feet wide, let your knees rest. Then release the hug of the arms. Draw your right knee in towards the chest. Option to either keep the left knee bent or extend it down your mat long. Hug the right knee in towards the chest, maybe giving it a little rock side to side. And then open up that foot to the sky, holding behind the thigh, or if you have a strap, that could be helpful here, hooking it around the bottom of the foot. We did this last week. We're going to open up this leg. Let's start by opening up to the right. And again, if you don't have a strap, you can just support the leg with the arm. Or even bend the knee if that helps. The left hand could come to the left hip to help anchor. A few deep breaths. And bringing the leg through center and cross it over into your twist. So you can keep the leg straight. Again, you have the option to bend the knee if that's better for you today. And the right arm can open out to the right side. Just finding your extent of a twist. Doesn't always have to be maximum effort or maximum movement. We'll come back through center and switch sides. Realign your hips. Bring your left knee in. Right leg down. Hug the knee in. A little rock side to side. Left leg up towards the sky. Flex the ankle. Maybe you roll the ankle. Open the left leg to the side, right hand to the right hip. Where can you let go? Guide the left leg across the body into your twist. Bring yourself back to center. Feet together, knees apart into a reclined cobbler's pose. Hands come behind the head, making a little cradle. Thumbs in the base of the head on the main electric points. But before we plug in there, we'll give a little massage along the ridge of the skull. From behind the ears, towards the power point at the very center of the head and neck. And then plugging the thumbs right into those little hollows on the left and right sides of the ropey tendons on the neck, right below the ridge of the skull. We're just going to hold here for a few breaths. This is a really beautiful place to remind yourself of your intention, or to even cultivate a new intention here, whatever it is at this point in your practice that you might feel would serve you well. Our hearts are the originator of this electrical system, pulsing information through and across every single cell of our being. Keep relaxing in here. Notice if you're holding anything up. Notice if there's the rigidity of metal. And take note of any sensation under the thumbs. You might start to notice a pulse, a warmth, even a burning heat. If you do notice this here, I encourage you to come back to it, maybe this evening, or if you have more time this morning, to come back to it. to stick with this hold until that heat or burning sensation starts to subside, starts to cool. And it could take a few minutes, it could take an hour sometimes. But it's just interesting to notice for yourself where you're at today in this electrical system and to give it the support that it's asking for. For now, we're going to press into those points and say goodbye. Maybe see you later. Massage deeply right before you release, and then slide your hands down, left hand over the heart, right hand comes onto the belly. And then bringing the hands down to the outsides of the thighs and bringing them together. Hug your knees into your chest. Take a little rock side to side on your back. And release the feet down to the sides, hands by your sides to set up for a bridge pose. Press into your hands, lift up your hips. We'll hold here for about 3 to 5 breaths. For more support, slide a block under your sacrum for a restorative bridge. In your next breath or two, you'll exhale the hips back down. Maybe windshield wiper the knees side to side or hug them in towards your chest again. And then come into a final restorative pose. So maybe that's back into that Baddha Konasana or reclined Baddha Konasana, or maybe it's a traditional Shavasana lying all the way out flat, or some other variation of a restorative posture. And before we release completely here, I'll invite you to hold to the metal neurovascular points, one hand covering the forehead, the other hand coming to the crown of the head. And you don't need to press, just simply allowing the hands to rest here with a gentleness. Simply allowing this connection to take place, to be made. If the arms get tired of holding, maybe you'll bring blankets under the elbows, or maybe even the head rolls to the side to give you a little more support, or even taking a little shake through the arms if you need to reset. You can hold here for as long as what feels good, even through your whole Shavasana if you'd like. If and when you do feel complete with this hold, you can allow your hands to rest wherever is comfortable or wherever they're called, on the body or by your sides. Let's take a final S breath together to let go in the most mental pose we have, Shavasana. Literally corpse pose, to process all of what's come before, to carry the wisdom forward. Deep breath. And again, if that feels really good at this point, maybe you take a few of those breaths. And as you feel complete with that, just allowing yourself to surrender to completely, to let go of all technique. Beginning to deepen your breath. Notice where you're at in this moment. Bring yourself to your breath. Deeply establish this foundation for moving forward into your day. Connected to the breath again and again, making this the underlying pattern, underlying habit to return to breath. As you deepen your breath, you might start to move, wiggle fingers, toes, head, bend the knees, eventually making your way to your side. And coming to sit. So allow yourself to land exactly as you do as you come to your seat. And taking a moment to relish in your practice. And as always, at the end of our practice, to find gratitude for yourself, for your body, for these amazing, incredible, energetic systems and patterns, for one another, for sharing in this practice and tending to your own energy, each other's energy. Anywhere else you'd like to extend your gratitude this morning. Humble bow, sealing it in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Namaste is a bow to that divine light inside of you. I'm wishing you a really great Thursday. See you next time.